This is the High Desert Luthiery podcast with the School of Rock, Albuquerque.
So what we do is in the casting, we pay attention to like the skill level of the student and what we want them to learn, and then we cast them on songs that are going to help them with those skills. And then in the individual lessons, we communicate with the teachers, and so they're working on those skills with them. And that's how we've been evolving.
Joining me today is Anna and Gilby of School of Rock, Albuquerque. And I learned a lot about where the School of Rock is these days, having worked for the School of Rock in the past back in California. And I just really appreciated like the School of Rock is looking at music as not just rock anymore. It's branched out into different genres, learning that they're going to do a sort of unplugged thing, an acoustic sort of thing real soon was very exciting. And being able to support local music schools has been a wonderful thing as a luthier, and just having taught music briefly with the School of Rock, I just always wanted to figure out a way to support the music schools. Having an event where we can say, hey, come out and play, and we'll give you guys a booth to talk about what you do, learning that they've expanded into an adult program. All of this stuff is so exciting. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, welcome to the High Desert Luthiery podcast. I'm Perry from Anga Guitars. I'm the creator of the High Desert Luthiery Invitational, or HDLI for short. The HDLI is a small trade show that'll happen twice a year, June and December. It is a celebration of luthiers, luthier-adjacent creators, musicians, and the art that comes from combining all these things. The HDLI supports the music community by providing free booths to the vendors and free admission to the public. Well, we're even offering booths to the bands that might want them to, sell merch, possibly book shows. We want to show support to the musicians involved as well. All of the participating vendors and musicians are curated by me to create a cohesive, organized event. The HDLI encourages community and collaboration amongst the artists. This podcast is one way to encourage that collaboration and also helps us all get to know one another. To learn more about the show and the artists involved, please visit our website, highdesertluthery.com. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. So my name is Anna. I'm the general manager of School of Rock Albuquerque.
Gilby, the music director here.
So he's my music director. So he takes control of getting all the groups together and just anything to do with the instruments and all of that. I take care of the business side of it, basically.
Okay, very good. Good to meet you both, and good to see you again, Anna. So I invited you guys to be a part of the next HDLI, Sunday, June 2nd, here in Albuquerque at Rio Bravo Brewing. We're going to give you guys a small boost, to talk about what you do. And a big reason why I decided to reach out to music schools, I was out putting out flyers for the last show and kind of having a bad day with like grumpy people, for whatever reason. And I walked into one music school, and first thing they said was, yeah, of course you can put up some flyers. We'll pass them out. And how can we get involved? And then I came by your guys' office and I got the same thing. And I was just like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And, it really helped me kind of turn that day around. And it just stayed on my radar. Like, how can I do this? So we're doing the show outside this time. Rio Bravo Brewing has a space in the back of
Yes.
their shop with a pretty nice stage. And so we were like, all right, what can we do? Well, the School of Rock goes around performing. Let's reach out to them and see what's happening. So can you share what you're planning for your performance, at the show?
Yeah, so I'll start it off and then I'll let you. He's the one that sets up like what music they're going to be playing and everything. So what we have here at School of Rock is we have different programs, right? We couple the one-on-one learning with group rehearsals. So the kids are always in groups and they're learning to play as a band from the very beginning. from the performance kids, we have auditions and we end up having a house band. And our house band is the one that we end up kind of having go and do different events and things like that. So we actually just had our auditions last month. So this is going to be our brand new house band for this year that's coming in to do these events. So I think they have their first rehearsal next week. And that's when they're going to start learning different music and all of that. And then he's the one that puts that part together.
Wonderful.
We got a good mix of music going. We got stuff as old as like the 60s with the Hollies, a little bit of Pink Floyd in there, bringing it all the way up to kind of current times with some Paramore and everything in between.
That's great. I used to teach at School of Rock. I taught bass to a couple students, and I did repairs and maintenance for all the students. I had a good time doing it. Gosh, this was quite some time ago. It's probably around 10 years ago, if not more. And I just felt really limited in that my approach was like my adventures into learning how to play, which was you learn how to play with the band, and you're not necessarily picking what you're going to play. You're playing what the band is playing, and you're trying to figure out how to fit into that. Can you talk about like how you guys are gearing your students to become like working musicians and how far the program has come? I think what I mean by that specifically is my sort of understanding of the School of Rock is it's rock based. And so you're going to get like all the classic rock and up to modern rock. You guys are beyond that. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have definitely evolved from that. We do have like blues and R&B. The way that we do the casting for the music, so we do like different seasons, right? So that the kids are learning different skills for each season. So what we do is in the casting, we pay attention to like the skill level of the student and what we want them to learn, and then we cast them on songs that are going to help them with those skills. And then in the individual lessons, we communicate with the teachers. And so they're working on those skills with them. And that's how we've been evolving when it comes to that. And then the School of Rock in general has gone worldwide. And there's a lot of schools in South America now. So now there's talk about bringing in some Latin music into our repertoire as well.
Are you guys like a franchise part of this brand?
Yes, we are a franchise here.
Okay, and so then does the School of Rock ultimately kind of decide what you guys are playing or making suggestions?
They have a lot of like different guidelines for us, and then each school kind of takes it from there. We have a method app now, so a lot of the songs are on there so that it's easier for the kids to learn once they go home and again make that whole connection.
That's certainly come a long way from when I was involved. And, I was only involved for a short while. And I noticed that in going back, less and less and less frequently to do setup work and stuff like that. The students were rotating, and changing and getting older and getting better. You mentioned, how you guys are changing the set seasonally. Have you noticed like group to group any sort of like natural progression or like younger people are picking up music faster? Can you speak on that?
Definitely. I mean, so one of the things that we have here is that we do get a lot of the kids that maybe don't fit into like traditional style learning music. So that's where we kind of fit in. They want to come in, they just want to start playing right away. Sometimes, they're a little scared. They're like, I don't know how to play anything. How am I going to do this? But, sometimes even within a couple of weeks, they're there playing. And we've seen how much they advance from season to season. And not just like, say, someone that comes in playing guitar, but then they want to explore other things. So now we have kids that are, oh, well, can I do bass on this one? Oh, can I try drums? So they're like exploring everything.
That's pretty exciting. I definitely didn't have that when I was learning how to play. I just kind of learned to play in my room, rewinding tapes and CDs and trying to figure stuff out. Now, kind of understanding how I learn, I would not have fit in learning how to read music first and understand theory. And I just wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I certainly was not open to playing more instruments until I was forced to. And then I just kind of went sideways, crab walked sideways and picked up bass, and started singing more. That's kind of a natural progression, I feel like, for most guitar players to at least be curious about bass. And I've never really experienced that with bass players, though. They'll either like pick up guitar and learn a few things, or they're not interested at all.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll agree with that because I'm a bass player. So I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I guess I can play a little guitar, but it's not like calling me per se.
That's funny. I just feel like meeting younger players now and social media lets young people share what they're doing. It's like they're in beast mode. Like they
Yeah.
just get it. And I was like, man, like I struggled for years to feel any sort of confidence and like I get this. And it's like overnight. It seems like they just get it, and it's amazing the speed that the young people now are learning is just it's incredible. What's it like to be a part of that?
There's really nothing else like it. Seeing them light up when something finally clicks, it's the best feeling. You've literally just seen their life change, like right in front of them. Like it's can't compare to anything really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Like, do you see them take on personas on stage, like them being the students? Do you see that happen? And then, they might step off and become the student that you knew?
Yeah. Um, Basically, like once they reach like a certain level of confidence, then they start to like really break out on stage and just start to become who they were meant to be, really.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
cool.
they
Do you guys let the house band have a band name?
School of Rock house band usually.
Yeah.
It's an always revolving cast of students. They have to audition to be there, and sometimes they might not make it back. They could have lost that drive, or somebody else could have come up underneath them. And but it's always changing. The cast is always changing, so we don't have like a name that we just stick with them.
Okay.
Because then the next group is going to come in, they're not going to like that name. Then
Yeah.
Okay. And like, do you ever have to like work to maintain rapport between students, or like, if somebody's upset, that they didn't make the cut this time around?
we give them some expectations as they're going in, and we kind of let them know like this is a competitive aspect of it. Like it's participation by choice, and if you're going to choose to participate in this, and if you're going to react negatively if you don't make the band, then we'd rather just have you not even audition. But yeah, we just set that expectation right away as like you might not make this band.
Yeah, and we also let them know that, even if you become a musician outside of here, you're going to be doing auditions. So even for there's some of them that weren't too sure about trying out, and we're like, even if it's just for the experience of auditioning, once you do this audition, even if you don't make it this time, try again next time because now you know what it's like. Like this season, it was lucky for us because one of our teachers actually had just done an audition for him for a band. So we were able to use that with the kids. Like, look, even he just did an audition and he didn't know if he was going to make it into this band or not. So this is something that is going to teach you guys for the future if you plan on being in bands and following this musicianship.
Oh, that's cool. It's almost like you have the business end of things, right? And then you have the work. And so you kind of start introducing students to that idea of doing auditions, and that there is pressure and there is expectations. And that's got to be really good for the students. And so like I'm just amazed, like whenever I look at any videos of younger people playing, it's just like wow. And but I think what I've noticed is that sort of thing that you touched on, where they're willing to play more instruments, but they've sort of been doing this on their own. So playing in a band is not necessarily a priority these days. Like, are you guys noticing any sort of thing like that?
I think because of the way our program is, what they want is the band part. We do have a few that, prefer to just kind of do their own thing, but I think especially after 2020, there was a lot of that social aspect that was lost, and they want that, you know, they have a lot of pressures in school and things like that, and this is a place that they come to just hang out and be with other kids that also love music and just play. So to us, like we haven't seen too much of that. Like people are coming specifically for that here.
Oh, wonderful. You guys have your house band. How often is your house band playing, like a month?
Typically about once a month. Once it gets warmer, we'll try to get them out there more, but we try to at least get about a gig a month.
That's good. Do you have any venues that you prefer or that you work with specifically?
Not with any specifically. We try to get them basically all over the place that we can. I try to shy away from like alcohol centered places, but other than that, there's really no place where I won't have them.
Yeah. And one of the things that like for me that I've been trying to work on is having them experience different types of events. So like we're trying to get into like the farmers market or things like that. So that again, if they decide to be musicians outside of here, they know all the different types of things that you have to do. You know, certain places, you know, it might be acoustic that you have to do. Other places might be calling for like a jazz show or something like that. So we try to make sure that they experience different things.
Oh, very good. Very, very thorough. That's very exciting. So let me back up a little bit. I kind of have to tell you this story to get to my question. So when we were looking at bands, so the whole HDLI is invitation only. It's not like, called the Invitational just because it sounds cool. Essentially, Allison and I, sit down and we'll review any musician or band's, stuff, videos, music that they're sharing. I don't know. It seems to be maybe a generational thing where audio quality isn't a thing. Like it's not a concern, right? Like the way I understand it is it's this excitement to get the experience onto social media without consideration of the sound quality. Like, do you guys record your live performances and like do playback at all?
It's something we're working towards. We haven't done it here. So I've only been manager here for, I think I'm about to hit 1 year in March. So it's one of those things that we're working towards.
Okay. Yeah, it's something that we're working towards too. Like, we bought pretty decent microphone to do some more like video work for my guitar stuff. And then we were thinking, about the show, like how can we get some videographers and some more photographers involved? But like, is there something that, we know of that we can recommend? So we bought some like Shure mic because everybody's got a phone. So we bought one that can hook up to a phone.
Yeah.
And it seems to be what I'm learning, like the industry standard. So we're going to do some video work here pretty soon and see how well it picks up guitar signals. Because I think like what happens is the mics just clip out, like they kind of hit their limit on the phones, and then you just get a garbled mess. And so, we'll see how this works, and if it works out, we'll let you guys know because it's super affordable. And what I was thinking is like this show would be a great opportunity to get some video and sound of a power set. Like, what does a power set look like? And there's a couple of seasoned musicians involved with the show, but mostly it's new musicians. And, so like I've just kind of been like, all right, well, keep in mind it's going to be a short set. And, the way that I've always looked at it is like it's a power set. Bring like your best material, and how do you engage the audience and how do you keep that engagement there is kind of how I look at it. And some bands will look at it like, well, all we have is 5 songs, so we'll try and stretch them out, and that's totally cool too. When you're doing all originals, but if you're not, like, how do you engage the audience, and how do you keep that? So, like, how do you go about picking, the songs that you're going to play?
There's a few different ways. With our house band, we kind of have a lot more leniency to what songs we can pick. For our regular programs, we try to stick with our method app, things that they can take and study at home within the app. With our house band, I do try to make sure that they are heavy usage of the app. So we're picking songs that we have in our database. A lot of the times, what I feel is going to sound really cool, what's going to make them kind of shine. So just to kind of show you a little bit, this is what we've got going on for our set list so far. We have This Is Why by Paramore, Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, Magic Man by Heart, and then we can dive a little bit into some heavier stuff with some Trivium, Skid Row, Iron Maiden, and we got the Beatles, Steely Dan.
What Steely Dan song are you guys doing?
Reeling in the Years.
Oh, wow. That's got some serious guitar work in it.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Wow, that's great. That's really nice. And so what I was going to do is kind of send out a heads up to like the different music schools that are participating, and say, hey, look, we have some bands, we have a blues band playing, right? So I kind of think along the lines of, rather than play a blues set, like let's try and keep this as diverse as possible. So hearing how diverse your program is, I'm sure that won't be any problem. And one thing that I've run into in playing sort of like festivals where you're just doing a set is like bands playing the same songs. And so what I would say is don't be concerned, just bring your group, do your thing, and that's what the show is all about. Anna, how long have you been managing the School of Rock?
About a year. In March, I'll be here a year as a manager. So I started here as a student. Actually, he's the one that gave me my first trial lesson here and got me in here. And then I became the studio coordinator, which is the person that does all the scheduling and all of that. And then I became manager.
Oh, and what about you, Gilby?
I've been here since the beginning, since 2015. I think we opened up summer.
Oh, right on. And where do you guys hope to be in 2 years with your program?
I'm hoping that we will keep growing and that Albuquerque will see that we're here. When I became manager, I realized that a lot of people didn't even know we existed here. We are the only School of Rock in New Mexico. So I want people to realize that we're here.
You bring that up, like Albuquerque is very interesting. Like it's not that big, and word of mouth is such a mystery here. And I feel like culturally, because I'm not from here, so like I kind of have, other experiences to base this on. I feel like there's this like culture of not sharing about things, and everyone kind of does their own thing and has their own like little orbit, and no one's used to sharing, and it's so wild. Yeah, I could share a couple of funny experiences. So like we live down in Nob Hill, like in the southeast corner of Nob Hill, and we're just like, not too far from Central. And right after the last guitar show, and thank you guys for coming, I appreciate it. Right after the last guitar show, venues were reaching out saying, hey, why don't you come do your show here? And I'm like, who are you? Oh, I'm down the street. I'll go check this out. The one thing in common was like, hey, we got the biggest open mic in town. And I'm like, well, the guy down the street, like 2 blocks away, says he's got the biggest open. Who's got the coldest beer? Like, it's like that sort of thing. And none of them really knew about each other, or at least they weren't saying they knew about each other. And I thought that was so interesting. But even like getting to know some more local musicians, it really seems to be the thing where like they're aware of each other. Another musician described it as being very click-like. And so you had to be like, yeah, you had to be in order to find out what was going on. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I don't know if I have the interest or the time to want to even figure this out anymore. I'll just work with, whoever I'm finding. And I feel like we got a really good group of musicians. I'm really excited to see how it pans out. And I'm very, very happy to get you guys involved. So you have such a diverse, that was all an effort to find the next question, by the way. You guys have I'm really bad at segues, but you have like such a diverse collection of music. Do you swap out musicians or do you keep the whole band there? Like I heard you say that you have some of the kids like, changing instruments during a set, or asking about that. But is there like sort of backup musicians that step in, or is it just the same band the whole time?
For a house band, it's the same band. I do have them rotate, so like we'll give everybody a break. That way, we're not just like killing the drummer by putting him on every single song. But when it comes to our regular programs, every single song has a different cast of students on it. So there'll be like 12 students in this particular show, and then these six will be up for this song, and then the next six will go up for the next song.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. And being that this is this show, the HDLI is all about stringed instruments. Are you guys like talking to the students about gear and like how certain gear works? Like you might want to lean more towards this amplifier or this style of sound for this song. Go
This is
ahead.
definitely something that we are working towards again. So one of the things that we want to start doing this year is workshops. And in the workshops, we want to do kind of like, oh, this workshop's going to be on how to set up a guitar. This workshop is going to be on how to like set up your drum set. And then I know that Gilby had talked about doing like little mini sessions in the performance program where like maybe he'd bring a pedal and introduce this kind of pedal and what it does. And then like the next week, a different one, just to start getting them kind of educated on that side of things as well.
Oh, wow, that's very cool. Yeah, because I remember that being a mystery. And, when you're kind of entering this whole thing out of nowhere and it's all new, it's like, whoa, what is it? And, you're still going to have those like wow moments, right? Like the first time you hear Rage Against the Machine, what is going on there? And then you see the band playing and you realize there's no DJ here. There's not two guitars. What is going on here? And then you start to learn about the gear involved. And, nowadays we have like rig rundowns and stuff like that, technique videos and things like that. So that's really exciting that you guys are doing that. If you need any examples of any guitars or, anything like that, I'm happy to swing by and help out. I usually have a pretty wide range of guitars with different pickups and stuff like that. I was always curious about that. And, because part of my job as a luthier, if I'm building an instrument like a commission for a player, part of my job is like helping them craft a sound, right? And a lot of times, like 9 times out of 10, the players aren't aware of any of that stuff. They're just like, I just want a black guitar, you know, with like in this shape that you do or in another shape. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that, but I can do this. And it sounds like this is actually what you need,
Yeah.
So if we take your wants and then what I think you probably need to achieve that, and we put them together, if we can come to some sort of agreement, then we can move forward with this. And I think that would be an amazing part that for me or to me that was missing from this whole thing. And it probably still is missing. It's like, how do I incorporate that, into this?
Yeah, and I think too, part of it is, it takes a while for you to hear the difference, right? So like as you're just learning, you're not really paying attention to that. You have to get up to a certain level before you truly start paying attention to those things. You want to like slowly introduce it in different ways. So a lot of the things that we're doing is because I started here, like I said, as a student. So I have that side of things. I still don't consider myself like a musician per se. So I'm still learning from them constantly, just hearing them talk. And then, they'll talk about gear or something. I'm like, oh, that's what that does? Like, I had no idea. So just from my experience, that's when I asked them, I'm like, hey, could we do a class on how to use an amp? Because to be honest, I don't know what all the buttons do. I just hook up and I start playing. So, that's when, they realize like, oh, if she doesn't know, then maybe other students also don't know what it does.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Yeah, I remember that day, first time plugging into an amp. And it was a performance, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. Yeah, come to think of it now, that's a great idea to have that sort of workshop happening. So where is the School of Rock here in Albuquerque?
6409 Candelaria, right in between San Pedro and Louisiana on the eastern side.
What are your guys' business hours?
Typically 2 to 8 during the week, and then Saturday we're open from 10 to 5.
10 to 5, wonderful.
10 to 4 on Saturdays now.
10 to 4 on Saturdays. We'll insert a link to probably our website where we have all of your socials and your website and all of that stuff up. We just realized that our website's turned into somewhat of a directory. And that's kind of cool because it was a request from one of the builders, like, hey, can we put a directory together, with everybody's information? And this was right before we opened the doors to the last show in December. And I was like, you know what? We got enough things to deal with right now. Let's just focus on getting everything set up. And I just called him up the other day and was like, hey, guess what? You remember you were asking for a directory? Like, look at the website. And he was like, holy shit, that's really cool. Oh my God. Well, yeah, so we have you guys on our website, and that's highdesertluthery.com as part of the musicians page that we have. And you want to go ahead and plug your website and your socials anyway?
You can go to School of Rock Albuquerque and find our website.
Is there anything else you want to share?
If anyone's interested in, joining a band, learning to play, we have from young kids all the way to an adult band. So, all those adults that maybe played when they were in high school and, want to get back into it now, this is the place to be. Yeah.
Oh, fun. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I know you have other things you got to take care of today, so I really appreciate you taking the time. Definitely share with me when you have an event happening, and we'll do our best to, help share that. Hopefully spread the word about what you guys are doing.
Hey, with you, let us know when we can help out.
Certainly. Well, I will catch you guys later. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the High Desert Luthiery podcast. Thank you to Gilby and Anna of the School of Rock Albuquerque for taking the time to join me. It was great to get to know them, learn more about the program, see how far the School of Rock has come since I was last involved. If you would like to know more about the show, you can visit our Instagram at High Desert Luthiery. You can visit our website, highdesertluthery.com. And to hear more podcasts, you can visit our YouTube channel, High Desert Luthery Podcast. Please do when you're on the Instagram page and as well as the YouTube channel. Hit all the good buttons. Please share us with all of your friends, and we would greatly appreciate that. I am Perry from Unga Guitars, and I will see you in the next one.